Hello, welcome to the Damon Friedman Show. But this isn't just an ordinary podcast. It's a movement, and movements are always started by leaders that are passionate about a cause. They develop an organization in order to accomplish the mission. Well, today we are going to be learning from one of the most incredible leaders in a space that more Americans and people across the globe need to learn about. Please welcome Melisa, who is the founder and leader of the Evin B Hartsell Foundation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. No, we're really excited about having you on deck here. The cause that you have been spearheading to communicate is really just so important. What we would like to do, because our listeners are very excited that you're here on deck, you're not like any one of my other organizational leaders. You have a very specific mission, and the voice has to be heard. So what I'd love for you to do is just share real quick about the organization, but then we're going to go in and we're going to start, how did it all begin? So just share real quick, what exactly is it in your organization and what you do?
It is the Evin B Hartsell Foundation. Like you mentioned, Evan was my son. He passed at the age of 28. And in that passing, out of that pain came this organization, the Evin B Hartsell Foundation. Our focus is to educate and to serve families with members with disabilities.
Awesome. Well, what a noteworthy cause. Disabilities, a lot of people in America have no idea how many people are actually disabled, and they have very little advocacy compared to all these other major issues that are happening in America. But it's one that's very critical, and it's one that needs to be heard, and we have to do something about it. And that's exactly why you're here. What we'd love to do is find a little more information about who you are. So tell us a little bit about who you are and why, what was the impetus of getting this organization started?
Oh, wow. Let's go back just a little bit.
Sure.
Not too much. So I'm a native of Florida.
Nice.
Floridian.
All right, Freedom, Florida.
Yes, definitely. Got married at the age of 16. My father was Navy.
Okay.
Married a Marine.
Of course.
Yes, of course. And then we traveled all over.
Nice.
The U.S., came back to Florida about 15 years ago. In that process of those years of traveling, we had 3 sons. Now we're back here in Florida 15 years.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. So it's been a ride. I mean, it's too much to go into right now. All the things that that I have experienced in the last, 50 years.
Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah. Well, this is very important, right? So you married a Marine at the age of 16, right? Traveled the world, the few, the proud, the Marine Corps, right?
Right.
One that's completely dedicated to honor, courage, and commitment. Had 3 children, right? And one of them was Evan.
Yes.
Right. So tell me a little bit about his story. Tell me a little bit about how, when he was born, his life, his journey, because obviously this is the source. This is the fuel. This is the reason why we're here today. This is why you're doing what you're doing. You just told me that, you stopped working full time with the company that you're at so that you could start working full time with this organization, because this is a very important cause. So tell us a little bit about Evan.
Well, Evan was my second child.
Okay.
And he was born in 1989. Knew something was wrong right away. Didn't know what it was. He was diagnosed at the age of 9 months and with a neuromuscular disease.
Okay.
So it's muscular dystrophy. If anyone remembers MDA and the MDA Jerry Lewis telethons, just kind of associate that with that disease. Went through a lot of ups and downs with him through the years. He just suffered a lot of surgeries, just a lot of issues, emotional, physical. And then we moved here 15 years ago, and he went to college. Basically it pushed him to do everything that I pushed the other 2 children to do. All my sons were pushed to go to college, to do whatever they could, find their special gifts, do whatever they could with what they had. And so did the same thing for him, pushed him to find his gifts. He started writing his book 3 years before he passed away.
Okay.
He finished the book 2 weeks before he passed, the manuscript.
Wow.
And then after he passed, started trying to find a publisher. Took about a year to find a publisher for to publish his book. It took us about a year. And then in that year, found the publisher. Took another year to put the whole manuscript together. And so it really took about 2 years to get it published. In the process of that second year of working on the book with the publisher, I had this idea, maybe we should start a foundation. Crazy thought. Had no knowledge at all about, what it even took to run a foundation. But thought, really wanted to start the circle of giving, where if someone purchased Evin's book, the proceeds would go into the foundation and it would go back to serve. So it was this circle of giving that I just had in my mind, this vision that I had. And so that's kind of where it all began. Had, published a book and then started the foundation. And here it is, 3 years later? Yeah. And a lot going on in the foundation now.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just jump real quick to all of our listeners and viewers out there. And there'll be a link down at the bottom. This right here, if you can focus, this is Evin right here. As she was sharing a little bit about Evin, I don't think you understand the level of disability that he had, the handicap. This book is called Abled in a Disabled World. I mean, could you share real quick about, because I'm fascinated by Evin's life, and the listeners and viewers out there need to know more about Evin, because he's not just a standard dude. He's not. He's a superhero. He's a superhero. And tell us a little bit about his handicap, because and what he accomplished in school. Because when I heard about this, that blew my mind. Because I did attend the fundraiser that you had. I did hear the stories about Evin, and he's a superhuman. He is a legit Avenger on this earth. Like what he did, 99.9% of humans can't even fathom, which leaves 0.1% that can fathom. And even then, probably only 1% of that 1% can actually do what Evin did. So let's talk a little bit more about him, because this guy, he's an Avenger right here. He's an inspiration for me. So tell us about, his handicap and what he was able to accomplish, because I'm going to go into especially the university. Go ahead.
Right. So I love you said Avenger, because he literally loved Marvel. That was his thing. He educated himself on Marvel. Every movie that came out, he was there. And we did it kind of together. We'd go watch, and he and his brothers would watch it together. But Evin, let's start with the name of the book, Abled in a Disabled World, because it is a different title. Yeah. And he really wanted to focus on the fact that he was abled. He saw the world as disabled, because he thought the world looked at him and only saw his chair, only saw his disability, saw his contractures, saw the ventilator, saw the physical aspects of who he was, but didn't see him, didn't really see the value of who he was inside. And he always said, you know what, Mom, everyone, he said it always hurt him because it seemed like everyone didn't discriminate against him because they didn't even see him. They would act like he didn't exist. They would look through him. Mm-hmm. And he said that was so painful for him. But he grew up, never walked, got his first wheelchair at the age of 3, and he took off. His nickname was Speedy. He was gone. I mean, just was into everything. Raised him like the other boys. He played soccer. He's staying in the chamber choir in school. At the age of 16, he was put on a ventilator because he went into respiratory failure. The doctor walks into his room, in the hospital room, and says, Evin, you're probably never going to eat again, and you're probably never going to sing, because I'm just telling you, that's what a ventilator does to your vocal cords, things that are happening. And Evin said, no, I'm not. I'm going to sing and I'm going to eat. You don't know how much I love to eat. And the doctor said, no, Evin, I don't think you understand how serious this is. You're probably never going to sing. And he was a junior in high school, and he looked at the doctor and he was like, no, I don't think you understand who I am and what I can do. I love that. And in 12th grade, he tried out for the chamber choir, made the chamber choir. So here he was in an elite choir in 12th grade. Wow. Singing, and competing with a ventilator, which was pretty incredible. That's kind of that was his determination, his resilience, everything about him. You told him no, and he was like, no, I'm going to show you what I can do. So he carried that on into life. I mean, it took him 10 years to get his bachelor's degree.
Right.
10 years.
Yeah.
He couldn't write for
Right.
himself.
Mm-hmm.
People had to write for him.
Right.
They had to do the work for him. But he did it. They were just his hands.
Basically, he was the mind and they were the scribe, right?
Right.
Very
right.
familiar with that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The number one best-selling book in the history of all mankind. They had some pretty good leaders and they had some scribes. Right. We'll talk more about that at a different time. You
exactly.
like that one? It's good.
Yeah,
That's
that
right.
Was good. That was
yeah,
good.
yeah, it's good.
So, so he was just so determined. He it's funny because whatever he loved the word no, because he like, tell me no and I'm going to do it. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in my way. So like I said, it took him 10 years to get his bachelor's degree. Then he was at St. Leo University where he ultimately received his master's degree.
Hold on a second. So are you listening to this? Do you understand what's happening right now? Do you understand what's happening right now? I'm just going to take a tactical pause because this is blowing my mind. There's bits of information that I didn't even know. So here's this Evin in a wheelchair, right? He has a disability that required a ventilator, but he's a singer, right? Right. He's a singer, right? Like he's an Andre Bocelli, right? Right. And the doctor is saying, I just want you to know you're not gonna be able to sing again. He's like, no, I don't think you understand. I am going to sing. I'm an Avenger in my own right. And so his senior year, the elite choir, what was it called?
The chamber choir.
The chamber choir with a ventilator, he makes the team. Do you know how many people are out there that would just love to be a part of a team like that and to sing, but they don't even have the courage to get in front and even give it a shot? And here's Evin on a ventilator singing. Chamber choir. Come on now. And then we continue on, and you're telling me nothing was stopping him. He wanted to get a degree, so he does, and it takes him 10 years. You know what? A lot of people don't know this. They look at my resume and like, oh, dude, you must have been a super smart dude. I'm not that super smart. I am just a gluttony for punishment, and I'm just a grinder, like the typical Marine, right? Mm-hmm. And it takes me a little longer to figure things out. It took me 5.5 years to graduate and get my bachelor's degree, which is a whole lot longer than most people. All right. I'm not the smartest cat. I'm not, but I'll tell you what, I never quit. And I think that that's really what Evin's heart and passion in life resonates with me. He's a true warrior. He says it may take me 10 times longer than the average person, but I'm going to get it done. That's why Evin has his rightful place in Avenger Hall of Fame. Okay. So here we are. And now we're understanding that he didn't stop there. He went to get his master's. Mm-hmm. Is there something that this kid can't do in a wheelchair? Right? The guy can't even write. So he's using his, Xavier brain, and he's got people scribing. Amazing. And then he writes a book. Okay, keep going. So, please, ma'am. This is awesome.
I have to go back really quick to high school because I remember in high school the school system, because they always wanted to put him in a special education classroom, and we fought every year to mainstream him because we thought, the kids need that and he needs this. They need to be exposed to a child who's differently abled, and he needed that experience with everyone else, right? And they accused him of cheating, because he had an assistant with him that wrote for him. And so invited, the individual who was, I can't remember the name of her, but she was coming in to kind of look over, just to watch he and the assistant doing a test. And she literally was asking him questions that were math, and he was doing him in his head,
wow,
giving the answers. And the lady left the room and she was like, no, he's not cheating. He's just smart.
Yeah.
He is just smart. So anyways, he goes to college. He's working on his master's degree, and he already had his degree in bachelor in psychology because his purpose was to help. He wanted to serve. He wanted to be a doctor of psychology and psychiatry, because first of all, he wanted his brothers to call him doctor. PhD.
I'll call him doctor now. And I got no problem with that, man. He's an honorary doctorate here.
And then he wanted to help others. That was his purpose. He really wanted to serve because he knew all the problems he was going through. He had gone through depression. He had ups and downs of depression. Spoke about suicide a lot because he was having a hard time accepting where he was in life in his chair. So it was constant. It was a constant roller coaster of emotions. of, I want to do this, but I can't do this. I got to find another way. And so I'll tell you one story. And when he was in college, he wanted to join a fraternity, like every young man who wants to be in a fraternity, wants to be accepted, right? Wants to be a part of a group.
Wants to be part of a team.
That's what we all want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
We all want to be part of a team.
And he pledged 3 times for this one particular fraternity. And each and every time they said no. He got through that whole pledge week, and every single time they said no, and it was devastating. It got to the point where the 3rd time I didn't want him to pledge. I was like, I don't want to go through this again, because he would be depressed afterwards and just felt like he had been rejected. The 3rd time, went through the whole pledge week. 3rd time, they said no.
Wow.
And
that must have been completely devastating.
Devastating.
My goodness.
And I was like, why do you keep going back for this pain? It was killing me. It was hurting my heart. And the 3rd time, it got him down. And that next day he came home and sulked. He's just like, Mom, I don't know what's wrong. What is wrong with me? Why do people not want me? Why do they not want me? What did I do? And he went back to school the next day, and he said, you know what? I want to start a fraternity on this campus. It's either can't get someone else, this other fraternity won't accept me. I'm going to do that.
Wow. That's incredible.
And he found a professor to help him, and they created the Kappa Sigma fraternity. He's a plank holder and one of the founding fathers at St. Leo University.
What?
Kappa Sigma.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So try to get on a fraternity, not once, not twice, but 3 times. He strikes out. He says, you know what? I want to be a part of a team. And if somebody's not going to allow me to be a part of theirs, I'm just going to make my own. That's really cool. It takes a lot of courage. I probably got all that grind from his father, right? Sure. He's like, hey, you know what? Honor, courage, and commitment, right? He's a Marine in his own right. Wheelchair, doesn't have the use of his hands and feet the way every other person. I mean, I don't even know how he was able to do that, actually go through whatever fraternity week or whatever it may be. I mean, and also all the gymnastics that they make these kids do, right? A lot of it is dangerous. And I'm sure Evan's like, all right, what do you want me to do in my Hot Wheels, right? Right. I mean, exactly. And so that's crazy. So he establishes his own, and now he's a plank holder. That's amazing. So he's what was the fraternity again?
Kappa Sigma.
Kappa Sigma. Yes. Wow. That's awesome. Over at St. Leo. And I'm sure it's thriving even today.
It is.
I'm pretty confident about it. I got to go check it out. I was just at an event and I saw the president. I had no idea that Evan's footprints are all over that. Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. So now all of a sudden, tell us after that. So he establishes the fraternity, he's finishing up his master's, right? He finished up his master's. Then what?
Then he passed away.
So yeah. We're gonna get to that. Let's talk a little bit about it, because you shared something with me, because we're going to transition into, all of our listeners are out there, our viewers. They're wanting to know a little bit more about the fire, right? That the jet fuel, because you're right now in the midst of building a jet, a rocket in this storyline right now, and you don't even know it. Right here, right now, in this moment when he's graduated college, and then he's about, you had no idea it was going to pass. Believe it or not, there was a rocket that was being built, which is what it's today, right? And his passing with the jet fuel. So go ahead, let's share a little bit.
So, a big mission for the foundation is to educate, and to serve others.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you a story about Evin.
Okay.
That I use, and I take it with me all the time, because Evin, his purpose was to educate. And he didn't just talk about education. I'm going to educate. He actually lived what he taught. For instance, was at Disney. He loved Disney a long time ago when he was younger. Was at Disney, and we were in line. I can't remember maybe he may have been 17 or 18. So he was older, right? But he had a lot of contractures. He was on a ventilator. He was in a wheelchair. When we went out, wherever we went, people stared. It was common. And it always made me so mad as a mother. The mama bear would come out and why are you staring at my child? And the children, I didn't mind so much, but the adults, I just didn't. I was like, oh, why do you stare at him?
Right.
Because that was something he had to deal with emotionally. He had to deal with people looking at him all the time. We were in line at Disney and there was a mother and a child and they were staring and I was getting very upset. And I was like, Evan knew because I was like, oh, I wish she'd stop staring at you. I'm going to go say something to her. As a mother to mother, hey, don't do that, And Evan said, Mom, I got this. And he rolled over. He rolled over to her and he said, hi, my name's Evan. And I saw you staring at me. And I have a muscle disease. Do you have any questions for me? And she was just like, oh, first of all, I'm so sorry for staring. Right. But that was his way of educating. Going, hey, look, I see you staring. What do you have? What questions do you have? I'd rather you come and ask me what is wrong with me and what do I deal with than just staring at me.
Right.
And he answered, she had all these questions. They started talking. They became friends and we went through the park together. We ended up in the park, and experiencing all these stores and the whatever it is in Disney, what is in Disney. But we experienced all that. And he did that in movie theaters. He did that in restaurants. He did that when we were out in public a lot. But that was his strength.
Right.
I mean, how strong does it take someone to just roll up to a stranger?
Right.
And go, hey,
right.
What do you have? What questions you have? So I take that with me everywhere I go because that's part of me trying to educate the world on disability awareness and disability and the value of people who are in wheelchairs. Don't look past them. Treat them like everyone else. Go up there and ask them, hey, how are you doing today? I mean, because they look different, but they have the same dreams, the hopes, the desires that we all have.
So that's definitely an emotional story. It's just also a direct reflection of his character and who he is as a man, as a leader in this, ignorant world. I love that you said that, he was an educator to the max. That's very powerful. And just the interaction is very moving. A lot of people could just get angry about it. I have a service dog and I hate it when people look at me. And I definitely don't have the heart that Evan does. I'm not going up to anybody and say, hey, I noticed that you're looking at me because I have a service dog, because I have my own disability. I have my own, 20 years worth of war, and I sustained multiple injuries, particularly mild traumatic brain injury, which caused, a post-concussive syndrome because I never took care of it. And so I'm very sensitive to certain things, and some environments are challenging. So I take my dog, particularly when I travel, and a lot of people stare at me. I'm nowhere like Evan at all. He's a hero. I'm just a dude trying to figure things out in the world. He's the person who's out there educating people about about the wrongs in life and to clarify, the goodness in life. And he did that every single time he addressed his disability with people through education. Man, that's
my rocket fuel.
That is your rocket fuel.
That is my rocket fuel, because I'm going, if he can do that, and everything that he suffered, everything that he dealt with in life and who he was, if he could do that, I should have no problem. Right. And it fuels me to do what I need to do every day in the foundation. Right. And, as you run a foundation too, it's, man, some days are easy and some days are really, really tough and challenging. Yeah.
So all of a sudden there's a catastrophic event, right? Do you want to share that at all? If you don't, we'll just keep moving forward.
I can.
And then we're going to go in and the impetus of the organization and how you're leading it, because I think it's important. I think our audience needs to know. Research shows movements are many times started by leaders when they go through a very intense amount of turmoil. For me at SOF Missions, my mission actually began in combat. It was in the midst of war. It was in the midst of going through what I would call an experience, going, to hell and back. And I came back out and all of a sudden my eyes opened up and I'm like, man, there's got to be something more to all this in the world than just what I'm doing now, which was the impetus of SOF Missions. So usually a lot of catastrophic events is what actually ignites people, because all of a sudden they're like, wow, this is a life-changing, transforming experience, and the trajectory of your life completely changed. Tell me a bit about it.
So Evin was 28 and a half. So he had well outlived his, what doctors had told us. They had told us that he would not live past the age of 12. And I think due to his spirit, honestly, you know, also just medical advancements that also helped his life. But, you know, he just had this strong spirit about him. And when he was 28 and a half, he went out to take a ride around the neighborhood one night. And he said nobody really knows because we weren't with him, but he did have an accident, ran into a car and broke his femur and his ankles. And because of the accident, we went to the hospital, spent a week in the hospital, and because of his lung functions, and his lungs were so weak that he just couldn't handle what was going on with the trauma. And he ended up passing April of 2018. So that was, I don't know. I don't want to get too much into it because I get upset. I don't, you know, it's been 5 years, and it's, you know, some days are easy and some days are really, really hard. I mean,
well, here's what we do know. We know that Evin spent 28 and a half years on Earth, and he lived more life than most people will their entire lives. And that's a fact. You know, he helped share lessons, teach lessons, display lessons for a lifetime. And honestly, because of that tragic event, all of a sudden, the Evin B Hartsell Foundation is born. You're doing an incredible job, 100%. That's why you're on the show, because you are a true world changer. People ask me, how do you become a world changer? Man, that concept is so huge. It really, really is, right? I tell people this. One life at a time. You change the world by changing one life at a time, and that's exactly what you're doing. So all of my listeners out there, they're learning from you right now. There's organizations that are nowhere even near where you're at. There are people just dreaming about starting something, right? And then there are people that are in the space right now, but they need some help. So we're gonna give it to them. We're gonna shed some light and some wisdom to our listeners today. So we talked a little bit. You're running this organization. It's been a couple of years now. It's not easy to run a nonprofit. It's really hard, or everybody would do it. If it was easy, everybody would do it. It's super hard. It's extremely rewarding, but man, I'll tell you what, it is super hard when you start a nonprofit. So for our listeners out there, you know, I always want them to walk away gleaning from you, from the people that we're interviewing. So the first trait, leadership trait. We're sitting down, we're talking over in the conference room. You know, as we're going over this, you said something that was very, very, very profound. If there was one leadership trait that you want to share with our audience, if you're going to be running an organization, if you're going to be running, you know, a company that's going to change the world for good, if you're going to be an unstoppable force for good, what do you, as a leader, need to possess? Go for it.
Resilience.
Speak it, sister.
Resilience. And, you know, so much of what I do is based on Evin and who he was. Even in the foundation, I ask myself so many times a day, what would Evin do?
Right.
What would Evin do? Because all of our lines of effort are based on what Evin had already started.
Wow.
And I'll share that with you in a minute, some of the things that we're doing in the foundation.
Yeah.
But they literally are everything that Evin wanted and started when he was alive. And he was so resilient. I mean, I've already shared a couple of stories with you.
Right.
I have so many other stories.
Of course.
That we could be here all day and me telling you stories about his resilience. And you have to be. When you get knocked down, you got to pick yourself up.
Right.
You got to figure out, how am I going to make it work? What am I going to do to move forward? And so, yeah, resilience is really big part.
So resilience is key. As a leader, you have to be able to deal with the storms. You really do. It's hard. I was just on another podcast. I was talking to a good friend, and he runs an organization that combats sex trafficking. Ooh. Right? And it's called Skull Games.
That.
Yeah. And we're partnered with that organization. Good friend of mine. He's from the unit, and we talked about the storm. Whenever there's a gunfight, or whenever there's a tragedy, or whenever there's chaos, 99% of people will run away. They really will. Only 1% actually looks toward the storm, looks toward the chaos, and moves toward it. That's what you've done. That's what you've done. And so resiliency is super important, because if you can't lead yourself out of the storm, how in the world are you going to lead anyone else? Right? That's the reality of the situation. So resiliency is king. Let me ask you one quick question before we go into the second pillar, the discussing like what drives you, because this is going to be cool. What drives you? I loved it when we were socializing in the conference room. What is the one element of resiliency that's kept you moving forward?
The one element?
Yeah, like what's the one thing about resiliency? Like, something that you share with yourself every morning, something that you remind yourself every day, or maybe something that you do as a leader to remain resilient.
I just remind myself that Evin left this incredible life and legacy, and it's up to me to grow it.
Awesome.
It's up to me to grow it, because he's not here.
Right.
So I am his mouthpiece.
Right.
I am fulfilling the incredible life that he lived, and just the examples that he gave everyone around him. Even after he passed away, oh my goodness, the letters and the emails, things I didn't know. I had no idea how he touched other people's lives, what he had done for somebody else at school.
Right.
I had no idea the leader that he was. I mean, and I'm like, wow, it's amazing. So I take that, his life and legacy, I take that with me. And every day I remind myself why I'm doing this, why I'm doing this for him.
I just love that. It's interesting because you just shared that, he's now passed, but in all reality, he's very present because he left his war manual right here, his life, his legacy, and it's your job to continue carrying that torch. I love that. That's great. And you have to be resilient in order to do that, which is a perfect segue with what is your driving ideology? What keeps you up at night? What is your why? What is it? Right. And it's in connection. And we talked about, right.
Yeah.
Right. We talked about this.
Yes.
We talked about this and it took a bit because there's so much of it. Like what, for me, it's what allows me to get up every single day. I know that I have a higher calling. I know I have 8 billion people. I have a purpose. And out of 8 billion people, how many of us actually really fulfill it? How many of us actually are vigilant? They accept that calling and they engage in that calling and they have to be resilient in order to accomplish this mission. So what is your driving ideology?
Right. So you've heard the quote, and I've heard it a lot lately, turning your pain into purpose.
Yes. Yes.
And that really is turning my pain into a purpose, because I think, there's so many of us that are either you're born with a purpose, or you find that purpose out of pain. You find that purpose out of something you've dealt with, you've gone through in your life, excruciating pain that you've walked through that fire. You've come out the other side. And what you want to do now is you want to turn back and help the next person who's going through that fire, who's in that hole, and you want to pull them out. And now that you've been through it, now you can pull them out, And so that's my pain into purpose. That's what drives me.
So when we were discussing this particular aspect about pain, that the pain, through that process of processing pain, you found your purpose. Do you know how many people will never really even understand who they are and why they're on this earth, what their purpose is? I shared with you, I was speaking at an engagement with a company, a Canadian company, over $240 billion a year, the number one financial institution in this country and one of the top 15 in the world. And after I was done speaking, the people, each person making millions of dollars, maybe a month, millions of dollars a month, right? I remember them coming up afterwards and saying, you're up on stage and you're talking about how you found your purpose. I have more money than anybody else. Like I have more money than I know what to do with, and I have no idea what my purpose is. And I'm going to tell you right now that when you find your purpose, I tell people this, that the 2 greatest days of your life, check it out. I got that on my personal development on the podcasting on my show. The 2 most important days of your life is the day that you're born and the day that you understand why. And so here you are, had a brilliant son, incredible drive, unstoppable force for good, would never take no for an answer, always accomplish the mission, passes on, and then all of a sudden you are ignited.
Mm-hmm.
But this ignition required pain. And then through this pain, you're processing it, you find your purpose. And then all of a sudden, just like I said in the very beginning, it's always started by leaders that are passionate about a cause, and then they develop an organization to accomplish a mission. Let's talk about the organization. If there's one element, one aspect of your organization, as we were sharing earlier on, what exactly is it that, that you want to share with the listeners? What exactly is it? I wrote it down because we had like 10 of them.
That what we're doing?
Yeah. So for organization, you shared something about a constant reminder about why you guys are here.
Well, it's always to educate and serve.
Yes.
That's our, and if you look at our 3 lines of effort in our foundation, they are all to educate and serve our families with disabilities. So I think that's the number one focus every day.
Yes. So when we are driving every single day for the organization, right? And Evin, you told me one of his primary tools in connecting and contextualizing is through education, which is definitely the strategic output, right? So we're jumping to that. So we're going to be meshing it all together. When you have these 3 lines of effort, you shared with me that one of your keynote or the key aspects of your organization is constantly reminding yourself of why you're here to do this mission every single day. I do the same thing. I do the exact same thing to my people. Our nonprofit is called SOF Missions, and over 20 veterans take their lives every single day. And I do remind my team all the time, this is why we're here. Especially when we're going through clinics and we're going through some serious trauma. There's dudes that come from all over the state, all over the country. And when they start sharing and pouring out the tragedy that they've dealt with, it's very difficult to process, especially for the females. We run an all-female clinic. Not the majority of them have sexual trauma. Do you know what it's like to hear that stuff? You talk about this anger and this bitterness. So as we were talking, you shared that one of your primary tools that you use within your organization is reminding yourself, what would Evin do?
Yes.
Right? You're constantly reminding yourself, and it's the same thing that I do, whether you are, you're a staff of 1 or you're a staff of 30 or you're a staff of 100, you're constantly having to remind your team, which includes you, on why you're here. Can you share a little bit more about that? Because you were passionate about that.
Right. Well, Evin had this saying, and it's in the book, and actually it was so strong that we put it on his headstone.
Oh, whoa. Okay. This is good.
Is be the storm, be the change, and just say, I will.
Wow. That's cool.
Which means I will. He spent so much of his life thinking, I can't. And he was able to change his mindset as he got older. And he said, you know what, if I can do it, I will do it. I will do it. And so he thought, you know what, everybody has an I will in them. I will do something. I will. And that was his mantra. And that's what I keep close to my heart too, is that, I can be the change. And all I got to do is say, I will this time and the next time and the next time. And it's like you said, it's that 1%. It's a little bit of change every day that you're creating this huge change at the end of it all. Right. I mean, there's 11.2, a little over 11 million children in the U.S. with disabilities. That's 1 in every 5 households.
Wow. I did not know that.
A lot.
That is a lot.
That's just children. We're not talking about adults.
Wow.
And everyone else. That's a lot. And there's a lot of parents who are struggling, caregiver burnout. There's a lot of people going through so much, as you know, families who are caring for these, the individuals with disabilities or family members with disabilities. So everyone is stressed. Everyone is dealing with so much stress in their life. And I think they need support. They need to know, hey, look, I understand. I've been there. I understand.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love your passion. It's infectious. And honestly, I just wish that I had an opportunity to meet Evin. I hear so many amazing things about him. Say that again real quick about what's on his,
headstone.
Headstone.
Be the change, say I will.
Yeah, that's awesome. Be the change, say I will. That's absolutely awesome. Be the change, say I will.
It's on our logo.
Yeah.
Our foundation logo.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. So, we shared, so that's a great way to continue to inspire your team. A team of 1, a team of 30, a team of 100, a team of 1,000. Constant reminder of why we're here, Okay. And what would Evin do? I love that. And then you start sharing about education. So this is really cool. And this is an opportunity to really share the different ways that you're strategically connecting to your audience, to your people, to your community, to those individuals that have disabilities, to the families that are caretakers, right? So your strategic connection, the way you communicate and connect is through education. Let's share a little bit more about that and how you're doing it through your foundation.
Well, we have 3 lines of effort with the foundation. The first line of effort is scholarships. So because Evin was working towards getting his, really wanting to work on get his PhD so that he could serve other families through counseling. We set up 2 scholarships, endowment scholarships. One is at University of South Florida. One is at St. Leo University here in Tampa. And we are specifically focusing on individuals who want to acquire degrees in sociology, psychology, counseling, psychiatry, all of those areas, because it was the spirit of Evin wanting to, pay that forward, to educate and pay that forward through education. So we have those scholarships set up with those 2 universities, and we're hoping to in the future to create more scholarships with other universities. Our second line of effort is the education and awareness, disability awareness. And Evin started creating a disability awareness curriculum for a university. When he was at St. Leo University, he saw the need. He said, Mom, everyone needs to understand what I go through, what others go through who are disabled, what we go through every day. And so he started writing that curriculum. We completed it, and Notre Dame fell in love with it. And so now it is being taught at Notre Dame. This is the first semester it's being taught at Notre Dame.
So hold on a second. Pause for a second. Are you telling me that this kid, right, finishes his master's, going to pursue his PhD, and he starts developing curriculum, trying to revolutionize the way they do education in his field? Are you kidding me?
I know, right?
Right? Like, who is this? This is Xavier, man. He really is. I mean, if you think about it, that's actually true. He is Xavier, right? Because he started his own team, right? He's empowering people. I love this. And now Notre Dame. Are you kidding me? Notre Dame. What a great school. Okay.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Go ahead. Keep going.
And the name of the course is Abled in a Disabled World, which is the book, because this is amazing. The way he wrote the book, the curriculum and the book go perfectly together.
Wow.
So his book is the textbook for the curriculum.
Wow. That's amazing.
So now we have students in the classroom reading his book, talking about him and his stories, learning from everything that he shared in the book, because he really was very transparent in the book about everything he dealt with in life. From when he was born, of course, we told stories when he was younger, to all the ups and downs that he dealt with throughout life. And that's the book. That's his book. So, Notre Dame's teaching that class, getting amazing feedback from the students. And we have an update about once a month from the professor who is loving the course. Yeah. He's making it his own, putting his little tweaks and everything in, but it's doing great. So we're hoping to expand to other universities, because it really doesn't exist. That doesn't exist in the world right now where we are at. And so that is our purpose, is to go to other universities, take the Notre Dame experience, take it to other universities and grow that, and have other universities carry this curriculum. Wow.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Is that the third line of effort as well?
No, the second line of effort is the
education. Okay. And the third is
education. The third line of effort is something we are growing. We haven't quite, we've been so busy with the 2 first lines of effort. Yeah. The third line of effort is really more about families and about independence. For individuals with disabilities. Right. So we have a couple of ideas in the works of what we might maybe even create in a family camp where all families can go together who have disabilities. They have shared memories. We can help, families who are going on vacation and to be able to provide nursing care, without their expense or whatever. We're still kind of growing that third line. Like I said, we're a young foundation. So, kind of leaving it open, leaving I don't know where that line of effort's going to go yet.
Yeah.
But,
So
excited about it.
I'm going to tell you right now, the education piece is just mind blowing. It really, really is. And for all of you listeners out there, viewers, I'm hoping that you're taking some serious notes on this one right here. Melisa is just crushing it. She's crushing it here. She shared 4 very important elements in order to really ignite a movement. The first that she had shared was that if you're going to be a leader, you have to be resilient, because it's hard. It's hard to lead, especially when you're struggling, because there's other people watching you, and you are the example. If you really want to know somebody's character, watch them when they're going through adversity. That's when you really know who they are. The second thing that she shared was pain, finding that pain, processing that pain, and finding purpose through that pain. A lot of times when movements are started, it's through pain. It really is. It's through catastrophic events. And then leaders choose to embrace resiliency, and they go through the storm, right? And their pain is their fuel. The pain is is interesting, because even for me, it's definitely how I found my purpose, was through pain. And then she talked about, and this was very, very important. Most of this conversation happened over in the conference room before we even started, was just this constant reminder of why you're here. What would Evin do? He literally established a legacy every single day, and then it was propelled on the day that he passed away. 28 and a half years. 28 and a half incredible years. He outlived the years that the doctor said that he would even exist. He defied odds from the very, very beginning in every specific way. Going to school, getting a bachelor's degree, regardless of how long it took, a master's, and then future pushing the PhD. And then ultimately the fourth element, right, is education. That, I think, is really the core of what you are. You are creating awareness, you're developing curriculums, and you're educating people to include empowering caregivers and their families. Wow, that is awesome, man. I'm going to tell you right now what I'd like to do real quick is I'm going to give you the last minute to just share one last thing that you want to really leave with our listeners, and then we're going to promote the organization and the book on where we can find it. But right now, I want you to just share with the listeners, what is the one thing, especially for those that have a child or a family member with a disability, and they're trying to figure things out. What do you have for them, or an organizational leader that is doing this job, or even something anywhere clear, very close to something like this? What is this one thing? Anything? You got the last minute. Go ahead, sister.
I just think it's patience. Have patience. There was a time when Evin was younger, and I thought to myself, we had this disagreement right between us. I was getting really frustrated with him because he kept asking for something, and I was like, Evin, you just got to have patience. And he looked at me and he was like, Mom, I have more patience than anybody. He said, I sit here and I wait for someone to feed me, take me to the bathroom, to do everything for me, because he couldn't physically do anything for himself. He said, I have patience. And I have learned that I need to have patience in everything that I do, because I have this set goal, this timeline that I want things to happen, and I've learned to not be so rigid. I have to have patience and have faith that all is going to work out the way it's supposed to, and just be open to receive what is meant.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Patience. I stink at patience.
We all do.
I mean, wow. I mean, that's so profound. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. That was pretty powerful. All right. Now I'm going to hand it over to you. We all need more patience. Patience is definitely a virtue. So please tell our audience and listeners, where can they go to learn more about the foundation and how they can support the organization?
Go to Evin B Hartsell.
And we'll have it down in the link so that you guys can check it out. Yeah.
It's evinbhartsell.com. You can buy the book there. It's also offered on the Curry Brothers Publishing website. And just buy the book, read the book, share his story. Because when you share his story, you're becoming a part of his life and legacy.
Yeah.
when you just share it with others.
Yeah.
And everyone who has picked up his book and read it,
Yeah.
you can go to the website and look and read testimonials, and everyone gets something positive out of this book. I don't care who you are, what walk of life you're in, what your background is. It does not matter.
Wow.
Something resonates with everybody who's read this book.
So this is the book right here. Okay. Abled in a disabled world right here. Okay. Check it out. You go to the Evin B Hartsell Foundation.com.
What's evinbhartsell.com?
evinbhartsell.com. The link will be down at on the bottom. And but it's not just this one, but there's another one. Come on.
Oh, yes.
We almost forgot that one. We have to actually promote that one too. Yeah, go ahead. Check this out. Evan's World at the Zoo. How cool is this? So, of course, Evin was busy writing a book for adults. Go ahead, grab that. But then through the process, his brother, Alex, decides to write another book. But this one for who?
It's for Evin.
Yeah, well, it's
about Evin, but it's for him.
Yeah.
It's for the foundation.
Yeah.
Is actually Alex's wife gave him this idea. You know what? You should write a book, because he and Alex had such a great close relationship. And so the first book comes out December the 5th.
Right.
We already have a series of books being written that we have an animation company that's interested in turning it into a cartoon.
Wow.
That does not exist. If you have a child in a wheelchair who is the main character, you don't find that typically in cartoons or in books. He's always a side character.
That's right.
But we really wanted to show that Evin in a wheelchair, or even anybody who has disability, they have gifts, they have value, and it resonates with the small children. We're trying to teach that, you have gifts and you have value. It doesn't matter how small you are. You have that too.
So when I was reading this, I was thinking how great this would be for your kids. Because it educates them about it. That's really where I was getting from. So you got one for adults, you got one for kids. It's very, very cool. Called Evan's World at the Zoo, and the main character is Evin. So it was just so wonderful to have you on this show. Thank you so much. You really gave this whole podcast a completely different worldview. So unique this has been, and thank you for sharing the heart and the passion of Evin. But mostly, thank you for continuing on his legacy. Because he is truly an Avenger of Avengers. And I'm just so grateful to have people like Evin to educate and teach people like us. He was a superhero, and we're just trying to figure things out.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming to the Damon Friedman Show. May the commander of the universe be with you, and Godspeed. And again, thank you for coming on.